and it doesn't necessarily matter who you are. You could be somebody that helps a business with their service, and this comes because somebody was asking me questions about this. A new person I met on LinkedIn actually, and she was asking questions about helping potential community members, community businesses of hers. Somewhere in the States, she wants to help those businesses with a particular service. However, what I'm about to say actually applies to anybody who could provide information, provide a service, provide goods, I suppose, as well. And if you are doing that where you're selling to potentially a business. And this comes from, I guess, this comes from over 20 years experience of doing what I'm about to tell you works, and it's got nothing or very little to do with social media. However, you could also use what I'm about to teach you if you do sell social media improvement services or marketing services or website services, for example, because I've also given this to advice for people that do that as well. And I say advice like I'm always giving out free advice because I don't think people have enough ideas, to be honest. And also we have a lot that holds us back. Maybe the rules and regulations, but I promise what I'm about to tell you right now doesn't break any rules or regulations. And in fact, what it will do is actually it'll probably put you outside your comfort zone, but it works. And it is a very thorough, ethically feeling good way to do things as well, because I think a lot of the ways that we are maybe taught to sell, like for example, cold messaging everybody who follows your LinkedIn or your Instagram or your Facebook profile, or as soon as somebody likes a picture, you've got to DM them straight away and offer them services. Oh, that's after you get a conversation started. Then you technically maybe accidentally message them about your services as well. And the way people are being taught, it feels contrived because it's kind of, we're looking back at a system that might have worked for a couple of people, and then all of a sudden now that's written into a curriculum and that's the way you've got to do it. Well, we let you know there's not just one way to do things, and there are thousands, probably more than that, ways to build business and rapport, and more importantly, relationships, because everything's that don't rely on you messaging people or you posting on social media. You can, of course, do that because it's free and it's a nice thing to have. It's an extra thing. So one of these things is it's got to do with walking into a business, but what I want you to get is that you're not going to walk into the business and tell them directly that they need your services. Let's say in this lady's case, she was launching new services for a new business that she hadn't launched yet because she's full-time employed, but this also applies to somebody who might be launching into a new niche or launching a new topic, or like what I used to do is launch in a new town, because I've moved and set up and started from scratch over 8 times over like 24 years or something like that, and started from scratch in health, personal training, massage, nutrition, all that stuff in a town, like from scratch. And 6 out of those 8 times got those businesses to multiple 6 figures and had contractors working for me. I've had contractors working with me helping because I got so busy so quickly from the age of 23. The 23 age, that was because I bought someone's business, then opened a couple of other different massage rooms in different locations. But to get the contractors busy and myself busier, I networked, because when I was 23, there was no such thing as social media. And the way I did it, which I didn't realize I would be telling you stories about it now 20 years later, but the way I did it is what I'm about to share with you. And it was, I simply went in to each business, each row of shops, for example, in the new town, and I went in with a give. So I went in to give some information in regards to inviting them, for example, to a seminar or a workshop. But it wasn't a sell. So if they were there at the workshop or the seminar or something, or as a thanks for coming, or as a thanks for registering, they would get a free something else. Like I was constantly give. And what I didn't realize looking back is that generous nature of mine means that if I'm giving, I'm building rapport and they have a great experience. And even if they don't use my services, they do refer on. So it is a great marketing tactic. But if you look at the core of it, it comes because I like the topic, so you like the topic that you're hopefully working on, but that makes it a hell of a lot easier to do the thing. and then you're willing to give some of your time away. Because if you're starting new in a new niche, or if you're starting a new business and you don't have money to spend on a website and advertising, for example, which by the way is going to hit cold people, so you still have to almost build a funnel and build rapport. So you have to have a free opt-in, and then you need to nurture the email list. It's actually quite a lot of time, and then you might sell them something, because, or you might set up a perfectly branded Instagram account, and then you've got a Shopify store. Do you get what I mean? Like, you actually have to build quite a lot. If you're a business to business, more service-based, new niche, new business, this works. In relation to the lady who's launching a business service, and this would apply to somebody who, say, for example, has any business that actually helps other businesses or other people, but I guess you could get more specific and targeted if it was a certain kind of person, like kids, for example. You could get quite targeted. But if it was a business-to-business service, this is what I told this lady to do. I said, do some specific research about that company and about how you could help them with your skill set. Go in and ask to speak to the owner or the head decision maker in the business, and say you wanted to give them 2 or 3 tips that you, with your skill set, have realized if they do X, Y, or Z, they could increase their turnover by, I don't know, 5%, 10%, 50%, because companies at the end of the day are going to come down to that. Now, that will get your foot in the door to obviously have a free meeting. And I believe in those free meetings, just like I used to do free seminars, you give away as much as time will allow. So that's a hint there. You know, you don't have to book a 90-minute meeting. It could be a 15 or a half an hour meeting. You tell them how you're going to help them, or even better, how they could just do it themselves, what they need to do. And it feels so much freer because you're just literally telling them what to do. I mean, my idea as a personal trainer for so long has always been to tell the people and to get them to do it themselves. Yeah, some people don't do it themselves, so they want your help and your inspiration and you to be around them to help them do it. But it's exactly the same with every other business. That some of those people that you tell them about how they need to improve their business are going to ask you to help them. You can, of course, in that free chat consultation, not the first chat. The first chat is to get an appointment, ideally with the boss, with the manager, with the decision maker, with the owner of the company. Even better if it's a small business. They might be the person that's behind the counter, so don't presume that they're not. Always ask. I would always ask when I walked in, so for example, to the counter, I'd say, now, hey, are you the owner of the business? Or I wanted to actually just be able to invite you to something. Is that okay? And they'd say yes, no, maybe. But at least then I wasn't insulting the person behind the desk, you know, presuming that they weren't the owner. Because I'm talking about, you know, a row of shops. This is not corporate office buildings where you walk in and it says no hawkers or canvases. And by the way, if you're going to go into an office building, that's another conversation. Actually, that's a conversation that I'm having in the monthly group, Next Level Coaches. You would have seen the link around. It's the monthly membership group. That's the conversation we're having in there all of September on launching specifically health group coaching services and fitness stuff to corporate. And you need a contact to get in so that you can bypass the front desk, technically. And they will all also organise it for you, but that's another conversation. But the front of the shop, to launch the thing, you do a bit of research. You go in, you say, hey, I've got a couple of ways that, you know, I know that your business could improve things, and I wanted to tell whoever would be the action taker on those things and just give you the advice for free, because I'm all about improving the business in the community, because this is what her MO was, this is what she was about, this is what it felt like anyway. So you go in the way you intend to do business, which is the way, whatever it is that you're about. Make sense? Meaning, you go in, you've made an appointment to give them help. Maybe you end up having a 15-minute chat in a few days with the actual decision maker and the boss. You give them the stuff and you say, listen, I can obviously help you implement this if you'd like. Otherwise, you can take that material and I know that it'll increase your revenue by 10, 20, 50%. You could also work on performance-based only. Meaning, when the turnover increases past anything that they were already doing, which also means that they probably won't need to increase their outgoings, you could work on a percentage basis of earning something above X amount. above what they were doing before, which is a really good idea because you're only getting paid based on performance, right? There are so many ideas to get your foot in the door to be able to do that thing. But can I say one of the easiest ways, what I think has always felt like the nicest way to do it is to go in with a give, like to go in to give them information. So you're either going in, inviting them to something, inviting them to the free thing that you're about to do that's not online, because ideally it's face to face. Maybe you've got an event that you're going to hold for local people and maybe 10 people can come, maybe 5. It doesn't matter if there's 1 or 2 there. Get practice talking to small groups and make a difference to them. Something that you could do that's even more targeted on an individual basis is research the companies, go in and say, hey, you need to do this. And if you can't go in, obviously, let's think creative and think outside the box. You don't need to necessarily go in, but what you can do is ring them. You can actually call them. You could email and find out who the boss is. You could go in. If you go in, I find you'll get an answer faster. You'll get the contact details faster. You will be remembered faster, and you build rapport with the person that you're speaking to, which you have to do, because usually that person is the gatekeeper that's going to get you through to somebody else. Now, I'm thinking of an office situation. I guess small shops in a smaller community, it's not necessarily a gatekeeper at the front desk. It's probably somebody that might be handling retail transactions or something, but it doesn't matter. If you can build a relationship and rapport with that person without being ridiculous, just be your normal nice self. Everything's always how you come across. It's not really what you say or that you have to follow a script. It's that your intention is to go in there and give. Of course, if they'd like to use your services, you can talk about that as well, but that comes in the next conversation because you've gone in there to give. Makes sense? It's so simple. I can't believe that at the moment, I guess the last probably 5 or 10 years, all we do is think digital. And digital works, but if you're launching something and you don't have thousands of dollars to spend on an ad budget, which you actually need, and you're launching something and you don't even really believe that you can do it, you don't believe that you're worthy or you don't have experience in that niche, and you haven't launched that business yet, so you don't quite have you don't have any testimonials, you don't really know that you do the thing, you also don't know which bit about it you like, which bit about it you don't want to do. So you've got to get in and get your hands dirty and do some work and get to a couple $100,000 a year first, I think, personally, before you necessarily need to spend money on ads. You could do it that way. Of course, you could start by spending money on ads, but most people who are experts that I speak to are missing 50% of the boat. Just doing that alone could increase your revenue by at least 50%. I don't know what you're starting from at the moment, but you could double it just by doing that and going in and giving and being a little bit more specific, and either invite them to a seminar or a workshop that you're doing that's local, that's live, that's soon. Get their details on the day. Don't leave a pamphlet. Get their details, get them booked in. Or make an appointment with a decision maker and tell them specifically what they could do to improve their business. And it all comes down to turnover, remember? So even if you, for example, I don't know, let's say you work in a company and you make nice chairs or you redo the upholstery on chairs. What's that got to do with the impressions, with the turnover, with the client comfort and satisfaction, and at the end of the day, the bottom line? What's it got to do with you improving their bottom line? Because if you're approaching businesses, that's the way you need to pitch it. If you're improving their health, how do you help them feel better? So at the end of the day, everything comes down to results, doesn't it? Let me know if you've got any questions about that. Please feel free to share this, tag people, send it wherever you want to send it. Let me know if you've got any questions. I will also make sure there's a link near this video for the monthly new low-end course of monthly next level coaches that I've got, where we're having discussions about corporate. So that's specifically for health, fitness coaches, maybe even in the mental psych section, but it's people that are providing a service to anybody actually. And this month we're doing corporate because I've done that since 2004. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Have an awesome day.